What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you for joining us here on Them Nerds. I am Tony. That guy over there is Jerry. And we are here today to talk to you about some of the news, rumors, and other happenings in the nerd sphere. Let's start off talking about some Disney Plus stuff. Jerry, what's going on with Loki?
From what we're hearing is that season 2 has already been renewed before the actual advance of season 1. That they are supposed to start production in January 2022. So it seems like the first season is definitely going to be very strong if they're already pre-ordering a whole second season.
Yeah, they clearly have high hopes for it, just like we do, I think.
Yeah, I think that, with that series, there's a potential of, it's the grasshopper effect, him jumping through all these different timelines, affecting things and making changes throughout the MCU because of it.
Right. And it's kind of nice because they can kind of keep it locked into that show so it doesn't affect other things, or they can have it bleed over and they can pick and choose.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's kind of nice. Also, on Disney Plus, jumping away from Marvel for just a second, one of my favorite book series, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, has gotten a full series order on Disney Plus. It's a young adult fiction series, and one can only imagine that they are going to find a hefty audience on Disney Plus. It's all about Greek mythology, and I love that stuff, and I can't wait to see it. We've also got one other little nugget about Disney Plus, and that is the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special. The Star Wars Holiday Special, for those of you that have had the distinct pleasure of watching it, it's a pile of hot garbage, but the Lego one proves to be hilarious. It's in the trailer that was recently released. We see Vader and Rey both interacting with Baby Yoda, which means they're just jumping all over the place. And that's the great thing about these Lego shows, which I always enjoy them. They have a really great little humorous streak. And this one actually looks pretty good. From what I understand, they're supposed to make fun of the original holiday special, which it deserves. Yeah. All right. What else you got, Jerry?
They had a little news about AMC's The Walking Dead that Negan's wife, Lucille, has been cast. And it will be played by his actual real wife. I want to say it's Hillary Burton.
Yes.
Will be playing the character.
Right on.
Which makes me wonder whether or not we're going to be seeing a wrap-up of Negan's storyline within next season. One thing we've noticed, especially with main cast members, when they are bitten or dying or whatever else, they kind of go through a slow backstory of what got them to that point. Very similar to when Rick originally was dying at the end of season 10, I believe. No, yeah, I believe it was season 10. That he started seeing, Shane and all Herschel. And so yeah. I would assume that that's probably where it's going from, especially since that we already have an idea of what happened to Lucille in the first place.
Right. Yeah. As soon as I saw that they cast that, I was like, oh no, I think Negan's dying.
Yeah.
That was the first thing
Which I think, is something we've talked about a lot, is that we think that Negan should die, but he should die in a way that's almost like a redemption story from where he came from.
Right. Yeah. Like, he can kind of be like, oh, I'm coming home, Lucille, kind of thing.
To the moon.
All right. Some DC related news. Jerry, what's going on with Titans? I'm seeing things about season 3.
I was seeing that, they're making a move to HBO Max, and they are saying that the new season will be very heavy on Starfire. It's going to be mainly revolving around her story and her progression within the group. That's not a series that I have actually had a whole lot of connection with, so I don't know a whole lot about it. But I know who they're talking about, obviously. But
it's a great show. It's a great show. Yeah, when we
not all of us can be rich and watch it.
Well, some of us know how to use Kodi. The second season ended with, of course, the big reveal of Nightwing. Dick Grayson wearing the Nightwing costume, which was like kind of a woo kind of thing. And we definitely started seeing more of this, the backstory of Starfire and her whole like alien queen, princess, whatever kind of thing. So I'm not shocked that they're going to spend a lot of time on her. She's been written as a pretty interesting character on that show. So that's pretty cool. So that's going to be on HBO Max. Going back to the CW, we have some stuff going on there. First of all, one of my favorite comedians, Jim Gaffigan, has been cast as the Justice Society of America's Thunderbolt in the Stargirl series. It's been a while since I was active with that series, but it's a pretty good show. I love that they're kind of delving back into the older history with the JSA. It's pretty cool. Also, what's Stephen Amell saying, Jerry?
From what they were saying, I guess, with COVID-19 happening, that we're having a lot of issues trying to get the American actors into Canada to actually produce their shows. So he did make an offer to go ahead and go return back to his character if it was needed, basically, just so that they would have content to be able to put out there. But it was basically him saying, I'll do this as a solid for you, but use it as like a break glass in case of emergency situation.
Right. There had been plans for the Green Arrow and the Canaries television program with Arrow's daughter, Oliver Queen's daughter, taking up the mantle of Green Arrow, and both of the Canaries that we saw on the previous season of Arrow working alongside of her. Who knows where that is right now, but I think a lot of people were really into Stephen Amell's character as Oliver Queen. He was kind of the godfather of the whole like Arrowverse, which is why it's called the Arrowverse. And I think a lot of people might be excited to see that again. There was some closure to the character, so obviously if they don't bring him back, no harm, no foul. But if they do, who knows? That comic books are like that. They bring people back all the time.
Come back all the time.
Yeah. So also going on with DC, Brandon Routh has kind of been letting it out that it's possible that his iteration of Superman, as we saw in Superman Returns, could appear in the Flashpoint movie. We're getting like every DC hero ever that's ever appeared on film seems to be appearing in this movie.
And I don't know if it's needed. I think that,
just about to ask you that.
Yeah. I think that if one thing we saw with Justice League was that DC hasn't built up their universe enough to justify having 40 people inside of a movie. They screwed the pooch when they put everybody they own into a movie. And so I think that they really need to focus on the idea of building up their core cast and sticking with that core cast for more than a movie before they start bringing back all these old nostalgic characters, especially a nostalgic character only played a role once.
Right. And if Henry Cavill is going to be around still, you wonder if it's necessary, to have another Superman. I don't know. It could just be like a quick, throwback, like, oh, here he is in passing. You never know how much or how little they're going to utilize these characters. So much has been made of Michael Keaton coming back as Batman, and you wonder, like, is he going to be in it for 1 minute? Is he going to be in it for 30 minutes? What's the role?
Yeah, but I think that's the difference. Also, is that Michael Keaton is Batman. I mean, when they announced Michael Keaton Spider-Man, one of the big complaints people had were they weren't sure if they were going to be able to not see Batman in the character.
Right.
So
luckily he aged a little bit.
Yeah. So he's able to he's done it in a way where people automatically think Batman, they think Michael Keaton, even though there's been other Batmans.
Right.
And but I don't really think Brandon Roth when I think of Superman. I was actually a movie that I very rarely even think about at all, because not that it wasn't a good movie, but I mean, and what's the point of it? Other than the idea that I think it was like the first movie that I actually went into an IMAX to watch. I think that's the thing that I remember about it.
When I'll admit, when I started watching DC's Legends of Tomorrow on the CW, and when Brandon Routh joined the cast as Ray Palmer, aka the Atom, I forgot that he was even Superman.
Yeah.
Until I read some article that was like, oh, Brandon Routh's second run with DC Comics is successful, and I was like, second run? I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot he was Superman.
Yeah. And I think that he's built up a fan base off that character? Why try to go back and dust off a Superman that really wasn't that memorable?
Yeah. He did kind of reclaim the Superman mantle in Legends of Tomorrow. Really, in the whole the whole Crisis timeline thing that they did on the Arrowverse. He was Superman for a little while in there. So I think more people are going to remember him being Superman there than they would remember him as being Superman from the movies.
Sometimes you just got to know your strengths. Sometimes you're just made for High School Musicals and not Broadway. So go ahead and just play the TV role where people are like, man, he's a great Superman. Then you put it on the big screen, like, oh,
hey there. Hey.
Is this a Hallmark movie?
The Hallmark Channel presents Superman Returns. Superman is a small town reporter and his beloved is
in a snowy town.
In a snowy town just before Thanksgiving. Anyway. So a couple last little things. Star Trek Discovery Season 4 is in production. It has developed quite a following. It seems to be pretty doggone popular. And it looks like they're just going to keep on trucking ahead, no end in sight. It's been a pretty successful property for CBS.
I actually really enjoy that show. It's one of those shows for me that I don't watch it weekly. I like to get about 3 to 4 episodes in so I can just run through them all at once, because I really feel like the content is that good to watch it all like that. I don't. It's one of those kind of shows I don't want to have to wait a week for.
Right. I need to go back and refresh my memory here. I'm a season back. So
people really need to be focusing on is the idea of Picard. I don't think enough people watch that show, and that show was excellent. If you were looking to try to expand your Star Trek viewership, that's where you should be watching. That show was top notch.
Well, I actually really enjoy that CBS kind of has a focus on something brand new like Discovery, and something that's very good, but also has that kind of sprinkle of fan service like Picard.
Yeah, I do agree.
So, I mean, Star Trek is one of those things where there's something for everybody. If you are, if you're not a fan of the original series, whatever, maybe you like Next Generation. My favorite Star Trek TV show is Enterprise, and a lot of people I talk to are like, why? I don't know. I just like it. But Discovery, it has its own vibe. It's pretty cool. But I need to get back into that. I think I just have one more little thingamajig here. No, 2. There are 2 little Star Wars nuggets here. Number 1, Felicity Jones has apparently been talking about how she wants to reprise her role as Jyn Erso. Spoilers. Jyn Erso's dead. So there's a very small time frame where she makes sense. Do you see her making sense anywhere?
I've know that Disney has done little shorts, like cartoons, where they've kind of expanded her story. So I'm guessing there's a time period that could be utilized. I mean, she's not asking for a Lord of the Rings style revamp. She's just asking, saying that there's more story still to tell.
Right.
And the same thing could be said about Loki. His story was wrapped up, and they're giving him 2 seasons of a show. So why couldn't you have somebody, showing her how she got trained as basically a spy, or some of the other stuff that may interactions she's had within people within the Star Wars universe that could be interesting to watch. I think it's definitely plausible.
Right. Well, for those of you that aren't familiar with the Star Wars timeline and Jyn Erso's character in particular, she was only really active from about the time period of Rebels, maybe a couple years before Rebels, up until A New Hope, which is only a very brief period of time. The only place that I think makes sense for her, if they're going to do like an animated thing and they bring her back, or if they bring her back a la Cassian Andor and do like an individual series with just her, that would be fine. But if they're going to try to fit her into the bigger overall picture, I could see her showing up on the rumored Ahsoka Tano series, because Ahsoka Tano was acting as a rebel operative during that time period. In fact, the crew of the Ghost, which was the ship in Rebels that she was aboard for some time, they were at the Battle of Scarif. So they were definitely there doing the same kinds of things that Jyn Erso was doing.
Yeah.
I could see if the Ahsoka Tano series goes and does like throwback kind of things, like flashbacks, I could see Jyn Erso being involved in those. It's possible, even though she doesn't meet Cassian Andor, until the events of Rogue One. I could see them showing her as like a parallel character, where maybe they never meet. I don't know, but she was great in that role. Rogue One is my favorite Star Wars movie.
It's one of my favorite ones too. I think it's visually, it's one of the most amazing movies you're going to watch. So,
yeah, and I would love to see them revisit that time. The Cassian Andor series, I'm super excited for. I've always liked, I love the Jedi and the Sith and all the lightsabers and space battles and all this, but I've always loved the like rebel spycraft kind of portion that we don't get to see quite as much about, which is one of the reasons I love Rebels so much.
Yeah,
because it kind of delves into that. So, speaking of spycraft, one last little nugget is about 007. The upcoming No Time to Die, which is co-starring Lashana Lynch as a character named Nomi. She has revealed that she is going to take on the mantle 007. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean she's going to be 007 in upcoming films, but she has said that she does take over the mantle in that film. So we've got our first female 007. We have our first 007 who is not a white dude. Do you think that, I don't know much about her as an actress, but do you think that she is a worthy mantle bearer? Do you think that they're going to stick with her, or do you think she's just a transitional piece?
I mean, they've had a Baldwin, so I mean, I'm guessing that anybody really is capable of being a good 007. But I don't see why not. I mean, especially if you don't know what the circumstances of her playing the role is. If anything you've seen, with those movies since they've revamped them with Daniel Craig, is that they have a trajectory that the character is taking, and the movies have gotten progressively better every single movie that they put out. Right. So I wouldn't doubt that she could do a good job.
Yeah, no disrespect to the late great Sean Connery, but Daniel Craig is my favorite 007.
Oh yeah, mine too.
Yeah, I think he's great in that role. It's a shame he's gonna go away, but oh well. I was actually kind of hoping that Idris Elba would become the next 007 because he's super cool.
I think he was wanting it too. So
yeah. Well, who knows? He may. Lashana Lynch may be a transitional 007. She may take on the mantle for this film and then pass it off to someone else. Who knows? Maybe they're going to have multiple 007s. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do.
They got to wait to see what happens with the patriarchy.
Who knows with these British spies? All right. That'll do it from us here at Them Nerds. Keep checking back for all kinds of nerdy news. Also, don't forget, every Friday, we're going to do some fantasy booking on our Fantasy Friday show. Every Thursday, we do Throwback Thursday, where we watch a film or movie, a film or a TV show from our past. And we're always posting things that we feel you guys should hear about. So don't forget to check us out on social media at We Them Nerds on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, especially on Instagram, where my homeboy Jerry is doing some super cool spotlights. The one that's going on right now is G.I. Joe, which is so cool. Check it out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment on Facebook, comment on Instagram, retweet us if you're one of my 11 followers right now. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Be good. Be good to each other. Bye.
Later.